Chapter 16. Past the hill, I came upon a band of armed Maoist guerrillas. A girl was leading them. She ordered a male cadre to conduct a tour of me. He found nothing objectionable on my body or in my rucksack. The leader put a white flower in the barrel of her gun. Her comrade did the same. One boy couldn't find a flower, so he used a piece of paper instead. "You are entering our area of command," the girl said to me. "You don't need to worry now." I wasn't scared, but a tour guide working along the same trail looked nervous. He was guiding 5 Australians from Salzburg. He had assured them they would be safe and was trying to appear calm. He didn't want them to worry. Talking to him, I discovered he wasn't really a guide but an environmentalist from Kathmandu. He was taking this group to his village to inaugurate a school they had donated ₹1 million to build. For a while, we walked with the Maoists out of their earshot. The environmentalist said to me, "You look like you have been traveling in these parts for quite some time. Do you think there is trouble ahead?" "They have put white flowers in their guns," I said, trying to reassure him. "Even so, there is still the possibility of crossfire. That only happens when they try to take new territory," I said. "So this area is completely under their control?" "Yes." "Did you pay the entry fee?" ₹2,000 per person, he said. I have the receipt in my pocket. The Australians looked uneasy. One middle-aged man took a bottle from his belt, drank some water, and passed the bottle to another man. The rest were wiping sweat from their foreheads. "Your friends are brave," I said to the environmentalist. "The girl who is leading us." "The one in uniform?" he asked. "Yes. He is a friend of a girl from my village," I said. "Have you talked to her?" As he nodded, the girl came up to us. The barrel of her gun was pointing inadvertently at my cheek. So what if there was flour in the barrel? I thought. It's still loaded. It could still go off. She asked the environmentalist, "I hope you are not guiding American spies." "No," he said. "Get their passports, all of them," she said. Looking worried, the Austrians handed over the passports. The environmentalist said, "I hear you give visa to enter your territory." "We don't do that," she said. "How long will you be staying?" "We are inaugurating this school tomorrow and we will go back to Kathmandu the day after that." We were walking along the trail I wanted to develop as a trekking route. A little further on, it looked to the west. I walked ahead. The environmentalist said something to the Austrians and they quickened their pace. Why the rush? I wondered. It would be far more pleasant to rest for a while and let the sweat dry. Soon the guerrillas had moved far ahead, as if taking part in a rally. I introduced myself to the Austrians. "I am an artist," I said. They seemed more relaxed once they knew who I was. That evening, we stayed together in the newly constructed school building. One of the Austrians, a school teacher, explained that many of his students had contributed to the building from their own pocket money. "Dear Gates, don't be concerned," said the chairman of the school's management committee, trying to put the Austrians at ease. The environmentalist translated what he said. "The children of this village will be able to study in proper classroom, at least thanks to the generosity of Austrian children." I was beginning to think about a new painting when my thoughts were interrupted as the chairman turned towards me. But it turned out he wanted to talk to the environmentalist who was sitting beside me. "What should we do?" he asked. "Some representatives of the people's government have turned up. You do understand what the people's government is, don't you?" The environmentalist stole a glance in my direction as if for guidance. Then he said, ask them to come in. Three youngsters come in, they introduced themselves, shook hands with the environmentalist, and told him, we want to put on a short cultural performance during this inauguration tomorrow. The environmentalists glanced at me again miserably. They controlled the area. After all, the school couldn't function without their cooperation. And what harm could there be in a culture show? We agreed. The youngsters left and we had dinner. The Austrians ate rice pudding for dessert. After dinner, the youngsters come back. We asked to do one performance, but allow us to do two. One of them said to the environmentalist. What could he say? He agreed. The youngsters left. We were about to go to bed when they come back again. We asked for two performances, but allow us to do three, one of them said. The environmentalist said helplessly, if the chairman agrees, I have no objection. But we are hoping to finish the program quickly and get away early. The next day, the large group of gorillas were present at the inauguration ceremony. They sang a song of welcome. Then the chief of the people's government of the village gave his speech. Then they performed the military drill. Then they sang a people's song. The school students standing as spectators applauded after each performance. To a gorilla standing next to me, I said, what if the army arrived now? Scratching the ground with a splinter of wood, he said in a low, confident voice, we provide total security. The people's song ended at least. Then the Maoists performed the dance, raising their guns in the air. What kind of security do you provide? I asked. Around the school is the first cordon, he said. A bit further out, there's another. The next one's outside the village, then there's another few miles out. So you have cordon after cordon? Yes. That way we know well in advance if any security patrols are approaching. But what if they come by helicopter? I asked. We don't fight the enemy in our area of command, he said. If they come, we disappear. So there is no confrontation. You are our guest. We are responsible for your safety. Really? But outside our area of command, in the areas we are still fighting to control, who can say? A local Maoist leader stood at the rostrum to make a speech. Before beginning, he pumped his right fist in the air. The Austrians looked on impassively. They had garlands of flowers around their necks, and one of them was taking photos of the Maoists with the digital camera. I noticed he was careful not photograph their faces so as not to arouse their suspicions. The Maoist leaders began to explain the origins of the world order according to dialectical materialism. It took him over an hour to get through this, as though were stringing prayer flags across a wide river. Only then did he touch on Nepal's history. It took another 15 minutes just to arrive at the era of Prithvi Narayan Shah. While explaining the abuses of the parliamentary system, he suddenly remembered Che Guevara. Then he declared that under the leadership of PALPASA, all the South Asia would become a red fortress. Before ending his two words, he asked everyone present to chant revolutionary slogans. Then there was a break in the program. I stretched my legs as tea was served, and before we realized it, almost all the spectators had gone. I told the environmentalist I needed to leave as well. He looked unhappy. The Australians also seemed to want me to stay, but I knew the environmentalists had asked members of the people's government for permission to order a helicopter to take the Austrians out, and they had agreed. The Austrians would reach Kathmandu the next day, and I would be on my own in any case. So why shouldn't I be on my way? I headed off towards the district headquarters. I walked more quickly when alone. I could feel the breeze even in my heart. My steps quickened to the rhythm of the breeze. Tramping along the dusty trail reached the settlement. By evening, it was a settlement of displaced people. They were considering moving on to the plains if the situation didn't improve. I walked on. Soon I reached another village. At a house near the entrance, I saw a woman hiding her face in her shawl. All I could see was her nose. She was wiping away tears. This is what happens when people had no one to comfort them. I thought, seeing me. She called out as though we knew each other. Then she broke down. That's Sue, she said, pointing to a canvas Sue lying on the ground outside her house. That's Sue. I couldn't understand what she was talking about. Finally, a boy came over and explained that the Sioux was a message from the guerrillas, ordering the family to send someone to join their ranks. The woman had seen it outside her house that morning. After that, she hadn't drank a drop of water or eaten a morsel of food all day. She had just sat there weeping. The boy told me that one of her son was in the police force and the other had left for the district headquarters to take the school leaving certificate exam. The Maos were obviously asking for the second oldest son. I sat down not far from the woman, took out a piece of paper and started to sketch her. She grew self-conscious as though I were taking her photo. The boy watched my pencil move. You remind me of my elder son, the woman said to me. Then she started babbling to herself. If I don't send my younger son to the jungle, I will have to go myself, or I will have to give them 100,000 rupees. She looked devastated. Even if I sell all my oxen, I'll get only 10,000. And who will buy my oxen in the village? The boy who was watching me scarce explained. Her husband's in India. She has got no one to turn to. What do her neighbors advise her to do? I asked him. They have told her to promise to pay the money when her husband gets back. 100,000 rupees. If not that much, then whatever she can afford. At this, the woman thundered. Did my husband go to work in India just to feed these greedy pigs? The boy tried to reason with her. You also have a son who is earning money. Who knows if he will ever come back, she said. He can't even come here during the holidays. He is probably already married and settled down somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe he has already been killed in combat. Don't talk like that, Amma, I said. The boy teased her. Why don't you go yourself? We'll call you Comrade Amma. Don't be stupid, I said. She's just weak, he scoffed. She's not the only one in this position. My sketch was complete. I showed it to the woman. She didn't seem to recognize herself, but she had stopped crying when I left. The boy followed me. If you want to reach the district headquarters before dark, you'll have to hurry, he said. I thanked him. Hey, you didn't draw me, he said. If I did, I wouldn't be able to reach the district headquarters before dark. You could stay here tonight. But what if someone puts a shoe in front of the house where I stay? I asked. Visitors don't have to go, he said. The worst that could happen would be that someone would steal your shoes. One shoe or two? Why only one? The thief would need both. So he can deliver messages to two houses. We parted ways.